We have breaking news out of Buffalo. According to Adam Schefter, the Bills are signing Joe Brady to a 5-year deal to be their next head coach. Joe Brady, of course, has been the Bills' offensive coordinator since 2022, starting as Josh Allen's QB's coach and then becoming the OC. And now he will serve as Josh Allen's head coach going forward. All this news just coming in right now as J. Mac rejoins the desk with us. What's our reaction to this? Go ahead.
It was kind of what I expected when Sean McDermott got let go. My thought process was you have an offensive coordinator in Joe Brady who has a really good relationship with Josh Allen. He's also a hot name in the last few coaching cycles where he's been interviewed for head coaching jobs. He's been going through that cycle right now on to second interviews with other teams. You got to imagine when they said Josh Allen is going to be a part of this process, I would think that Josh Allen at some point told the Pegula family, I want Joe Brady in the building. Maybe not demanding that he be a head coach, but wanting him to continue to be there to coach him. So the only way to do that is to promote him and have him be the head coach. My next question marks, I think, around the Joe Brady hires, is he going to continue to call plays on the offensive side of the ball? Is he going to go get another offensive play caller and a Brian Daboll or Davis Webb, two names that we heard mentioned as the head coaching jobs? When you keep the offensive coordinator the same, who's been there under Sean McDermott, the question that if I'm a Bills fan, I'd be asking, well, how much is going to change now? Yeah. Is the defensive coordinator still going to be Bobby Babbage? Are we still going to have a similar to the same culture we've been building over the tenure for Sean McDermott being there and winning a ton of games? Do the ownership and general manager and Brandon Beane believe that Joe Brady is the guy to win 2 more games? That's the only thing they have to do from what Sean McDermott was able to do. They've been in a conference championship game. Win that game and win the Super Bowl. They're 2 games away. So do you believe that within that he is the answer to getting over that hump for what Sean McDermott couldn't do? My question is how much changes within that building to make the firing of Sean McDermott actually make sense for the Buffalo Bills?
Saturday?
Yeah, these are big shoes to fill. And to J. Mac's point, I'm not surprised they went with Brady. I mean, I think when you saw the people they were interviewing, whether it was Webb or Daboll or, if you're going to go with an offensive guy, you got the guy who's been calling it and you feel pretty comfortable, and to J. Mac's point, has been up for other jobs. I would say the hiring portion of this is going to be the key, right? Who's his defensive coordinator? Is he going to call plays? And even if he does call plays, who's his OC going to be? Because that head coaching responsibility is going to require a ton of time away from, being with players, which he does each and every day. And so who's the guy who's going to start the game plans week in and week out? Go through it, get it laid out. Who's Josh Allen comfortable with in doing that role? And look, I was with Mike McCarthy when we were in Green Bay, and that was my first experience of having a head coach be an offensive coordinator. And it was funny because Tom Clements was, quote, our offensive coordinator, but wasn't calling. And so there's just some things you're going to have to work out. But who he hires, I think, goes a long way to the success of the Bills. The main issue is, and J-Mac said it best, this ain't about winning, because Sean McDermott won a bunch of games. This ain't about going to the playoffs and winning because he's won a bunch of playoff games. This is about Super Bowl or bust. That is a large ask in a town and a community that's built and loves football. This is look, tip of the cap to Brady. Congratulations. This is some work in this one right here because it ain't about any of the rest. It's about Super Bowl or bust.
Well, I somewhat disagree with that last part only from this perspective. Yeah. It's not like it has to happen next year. Sean McDermott had 8-9 years. You can't be that way with Joe Brady in year 1. Okay? You have to improve the offensive line. You definitely have to do that. You got to improve your wide receiver camp. There's no doubt about that. We're looking at Pegula and we're saying, all right, the way he opened his mouth, it would appear that you got to get to the Super Bowl. It's now or never. But what I'm saying is, you don't hire Joe Brady, elevate, because as an offensive coordinator, he did his job, all right, because they were one of the elite offenses in the game. That can't dissipate. You got to improve the defense. You're $12 million over the cap. Yeah. So you got to figure out something defensively and whatever. I think there's more pressure on Beane than there is on Joe Brady. Now, Joe Brady, they can't dip. They got to be, you definitely want them going for it. But it's not like, oh, my God, if you don't get it done next year, well, Joe Brady wasn't the answer because you didn't get it done in year 1. I think that's a bit extreme.
But the time is running out with Josh Allen is the prime, right? Like that's why they let go of Sean McDermott because
one guy,
Josh Allen.
One.
I mean, that's why they may be promoted from within because they're like, we don't have time.
I want to take a step back.
Yeah, we don't have
I
time.
just say take a step back now. I didn't say take a step back.
Yeah, you can't take.
But I'm just saying that I'm like, damn, he don't win the Super Bowl in year one, but somebody else got 9 years.
But he's not inheriting the same roster that Sean McDermott
I understand
inherited.
that. Year one?
They were terrible when McDermott got there.
I'm just saying year one.
New playbook, nothing like that. All right, go anywhere. We'll have more First Take after this.
The Bills are promoting offensive coordinator Joe Brady to head coach. That's the latest from our Jonathan Jones. He's been with Buffalo since the 2022 season, serving as the team's offensive coordinator for the past 2 years. The Bills considered a number of outside candidates, including Brian Daboll, Anthony Lynn, Anthony Weaver, before ultimately deciding to promote Brady. That leaves the Cardinals, the Browns, and the Raiders as the only head coach openings remaining in the NFL. Jonathan Jones joins us now with this breaking news. Jonathan, how did this all come together?
So this hire for Buffalo has always been singularly about Josh Allen, about the quarterback. That's what we told you as soon as they fired Sean McDermott. We know that Josh Allen was heavily involved in the process, in the interview process, more so than any other player really in recent memory, probably going back to Peyton Manning's days with Denver. They wanted a head coach for Josh Allen, and that is why we've been telling you that it was coming down to 3 candidates. It was Brian Daboll, who had previously been the offensive coordinator in Buffalo and a Western New York native. It was Davis Webb, former NFL quarterback, close friend of Josh Allen's, who is still in the running for the Las Vegas Raiders job. And it was Joe Brady, who has been his OC the last couple of years. They've grown very close with one another because they wanted, the Bills did, continuity for the quarterback. They have, for at least another week or so, the reigning NFL MVP. They believe they have a Super Bowl caliber roster, and they want someone to get them over the hump. And so they choose the 36-year-old young head coach. He used to be the top assistant coach in college football with LSU. He had a couple of years with Carolina and Matt Rule that did not work out, but then he reinvented himself in Buffalo, learned a lot, and now he takes over on a 5-year deal, we can report, with the Buffalo Bills.
Are you surprised? You said it's all about continuity, but we have yet to see the Bills kind of get over that hump that we've been looking for. Are you surprised that they wanted to go within? And obviously making Josh Allen happy was a key priority there, but are you shocked at all about this hire?
Not really, because Josh Allen's involvement and the focal point being the quarterback was what this was all about. It was very much like this has to be about Josh. This has to be about continuity. We don't want him going into the offseason. He's probably going to have a procedure on his foot. We learned that a week or so ago. We don't want him learning a new offensive system, a new language, right? We'll figure out the rest. Clearly, Terry Pagula, the owner of the Bills, believes in this roster. He believes in Brandon Beane, the general manager, so much he promoted him to president of football operations. And now the head coach reports in to the general manager there. And so I think we can all talk about the flaws, the blemishes, the issues with Buffalo's roster. And you would start with the wide receivers and you can continue on from there. But the point about the head coach was always going to be about Josh Allen. Was it as simple as this is who Josh wants and that's who he gets? I don't think it was that simple, right? And I do believe that this was a difficult decision for Buffalo, but one that, again, if you had asked me a week ago who will ultimately be the Bills' head coach, I would have told you it will be either Brian Daboll or Joe Brady because of Josh Allen. And now we know, of course, it's Joe Brady.
You just mentioned some of the holes in that roster and some of those holes that they're going to look to address this offseason. But how much pressure is on Brady immediately to just go in there and get the job done?
You know, I said this after they fired Sean McDermott, and I still feel this way. I think that this is going to be the most pressure-packed head coaching job in the NFL. That is with all due respect to the pressure that is always on the Dallas Cowboys, right? And Brian Schottenheimer in year 2. With respect to Mike McCarthy and the Pittsburgh Steelers and whether they should reset or not and who their quarterback's going to be. With respect to the New York Jets and Aaron Glenn, who is remaking his coaching staff as we speak, 3 weeks after the end of the season, after that disastrous run. The Buffalo Bills, again, we see their free agents, and they're going to have to take a good long look about whether they're going to bring back a Joey Bosa, how they can work it out with Matt Milano. Did they get the best last squeeze out of Tre'Davious White, what they do with Jordan Poyer. I mean, there's names on here that we all know. The fact that Brandon Cooks was really their top receiver and he wasn't on their roster at Halloween really speaks to the issues on this team. So they're going to have to find a wideout. They're going to have to find more pass rush and really on every level of the defense, some holes to fill. But when you talk about pressure, Sean McDermott is the second most successful coach